You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Bringing you up to date on the news of the day. We analyze the news for the facts. It's amazing how few facts are actually in the news these days. I comment on those facts and then we discuss the commentary and the story and everything else with a debate regarding any particular topic. So if you have anything that you'd like to say about anything that we're talking about, all you need to do is call us at 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Joe Biden is good old Joe. I disagree with good old Joe's politics. I have always kind of found him to be the quintessential politician saying whatever is necessary at the time to look as good as possible, even when he said something that made him look like a moron. But he's a good guy. He's got a good heart. He was a great vice president for President Obama. He truly was. Maybe one of the best vice presidents ever for any sitting president ever. The only problem with all that is that, like I said, I had real problems with the politics. But good old Joe is trying one more time to be the president of the United States. How many times has he tried? I don't know, 3 or 4 times? This will be number 5, I guess. 4? Something like that. Anyway, he's not from Massachusetts, is he? Anyway, Joe Biden is old. And, of course, so is President Donald Trump. Both of those guys are old. They're in their 70s. And a lot of people think that President Trump is nuts, well, because that's what the leftists do with anybody that happens to not be a leftist and happens to be in public service, politically at least. What ends up happening is that anybody who disagrees with Democrat policy and obvious enlightenment is somehow mentally defective. You know, there are a couple of things I'd like to see the Democrat Party abandon. Accusing their political opponents of some sort of mental deficiency or using racism for any reason whatsoever. The use of racism is destructive, not to the people that are either calling people racists or being called racists, although I suppose that you could make a case for either of those being true. But racism hurts the country more than anything else. It's a self-perpetuating mess. You know, everybody talks about how terrible racism is. It's awful and so on and so forth. And I said, okay, well, in the census, let's just not keep track of race ever again. What, are you nuts? Exactly. Because we have to know the races of people so that we can properly exploit them. We don't need to know who the American citizens are, but we certainly need to know what their race is, because that's how you properly draw the congressional districts. Start in the upper left-hand corner of any given state. Draw it out until about 800,000 and 850, 900,000 people are in the district, and then move to the next district to the immediate right of the district you just drew. Most of the districts would be square or some derivative of square, rectangular, or what have you. But then again, if that happens, what happens? Well, suddenly there are an awful lot of districts that only have white people living in them, because 63% of the American population is white. 63%. Black population, about 13%. Hispanic population, somewhere around 20%. The others make up the rest. If suddenly the 63% of white America was empowered as the absolute majority, and there was no gerrymandering of congressional districts, and there was no mention of racism at all, either institutional or simply as rhetoric or as politics, this would be a completely different country. Would it be a better country? I don't think so, actually. I truly don't. But when somebody steps up and says how somebody specifically from the left stands up and starts accusing everybody around them of being racist, I kind of roll my eyes and say, do you have any idea what you're talking about at all? Nobody brings this stuff up. This is just all ignored. All of this is ignored. Did you hear what John David Wells said on the Wells Report today? He said that 63% of America was made up of white people. Yes, that's true. Well, how racist? No, it's actually the news. He's stupid. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the conversation becomes dramatically difficult, and especially for the progressive left, it becomes a lot less scurrilous, in my view. But then again, I kind of like honesty. I wish there was more of it. But like I was saying, good old Joe Biden, good old guy, Joe Biden. He's old. President Trump is old. And President Joe Biden said that if the commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, questions his physical or mental faculties in the 2020 debate, it's counting your chickens, isn't it there, Joe? Anyway, he would challenge President Trump to, I heard you say a duel. No, not an arm wrestling contest. Push-up contest. That's right, a push-up contest. Yeah. Yep. Now, as typical, Joe Biden is kind of a gaffe machine. You know, he said the same thing about Kamala Harris. And while that wasn't overly weird, you know, when she heard the word push-up, Kamala Harris said, I hate those kinds of bras. You're ashamed of yourself because you laughed, aren't you? I know I am. Bernie Sanders said today that if he was elected president, he would never do push-ups. No, he would absolutely look to break up online giants Facebook, Google, and Amazon, offering his strongest pledge today to pursue antitrust enforcement against the tech industry. That's right. We're going to crash the tech sector. No, you're not. But why is it that Bernie is coming up with such strange statements regarding this evil tech? Huh? Well, because he's losing his butt in New Hampshire. Yeah, he's losing his butt in New Hampshire, even though that's a horrifyingly terrible mental picture. Senator Bernie Sanders, his support in neighboring New Hampshire, he's a Vermont senator, where he trounced Hillary Clinton in the 2016 primary election, has fallen 6 percentage points since April. The Vermont Independent's 10% level of support in the Granite State left him in fifth place behind Democrat presidential contenders Joe Biden, who leads with 21%, Kamala Harris at 18%, Elizabeth Warren with 17%, and Pete Buttigieg with 12%. This according to a St. Anselm College Survey Center poll. Yeah, so people just aren't as interested in the knockdown, drag-out Bolshevik revolution that Bernie Sanders says absolutely must happen in order to make this country a better place. By the way, while we're talking about New Hampshire, let's see, what do we have here? Saying the same St. Anselm College poll taken last week. Biden, 20.8%. Kamala Harris, 17.5%. Senator Elizabeth Warren at 16.7%. Buttigieg at 11.5%. Bernie Sanders into single digits, 9.9%. Andrew Yang is at 4.9%. Let's see. Robert Francis O'Rourke, the tall, skinny kid from El Paso, the tall, skinny Irish kid from El Paso, he has 0 in the poll. Yow. Yeah, that's probably going to be the next campaign that's going to go belly up. And then we'll see the tall, skinny Irish kid from El Paso, Robert Francis O'Rourke, go back home and try to drown his sorrows in some Jameson. I heard he hates tequila. I'm being such a snot today. I can't really explain why. Anyway, what else do we have here? I mean, poll results notwithstanding, former Vice President Joe Biden, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders sit atop the field of Democrat presidential contenders among likely primary votes in New Hampshire. This is according to a new CNN poll. 24% say they back Biden in the CNN poll conducted by the University of New Hampshire. 19% support Sanders and Warren. That's each. A 5-point margin between Biden and the two senators matches the survey's margin of sampling error. Interesting. Behind the top tier, 10% support Mayor Pete Buttigieg. 9% back Kamala Harris. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker, former Texas Congressman Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke, the tall, skinny Irish kid from El Paso, each registered 2%. At least Beto O'Rourke is, he's got 2% now. No other candidate tested earned more than 1%. All right. So there you go. California polling, on the other hand, it is a poll of Democrat primary voters in the state, has Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, surging past favorite daughter Kamala Harris and former Vice President Joe Biden in the Golden State ahead of second debates coming up at the end of July. Wow. Tracking survey of 4,050 respondents conducted by Capital Weekly. Warren has 24.8% in California. Harris has 20.3%. Biden is at 19.6%. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont has 15.6%. South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg is down to 7.7%. Wow. So there you go. That's polling information as we give you all the things you need to know about Democrat presidential candidates today on the Wells Report. This is the USA Radio Network. Telephone number 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. How are those people doing raising money? Well, it's kind of tough because there are like 24 candidates and there is only so much money. 5 presidential candidates for the Democrat Party raised a combined $96 million from individual donors in the last 3 months, 3/4 of the total fundraising by the entire Democrat field. This according to reports filed with the Federal Election Commission. We crunched the latest fundraising numbers for the candidates. The funding paints a picture of the diverse fortunes in the 2020 race. The numbers highlight the financial challenges that many lesser-known candidates are facing as they seek to keep their campaigns afloat. Are you listening? Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke, the tall, skinny Irish kid from El Paso. Mayor Pete Buttigieg more than tripled his fundraising from the first quarter, as did Senator Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. Senators Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris raised about the same as in the first quarter. For his part, Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders said, "I'm not worried about any of this. If I need more money, I'll just take a little bit of money from all of the rest of the candidates and combine it." Of course you will. Good communist that you are. So amount raised from individual contributions, $32.3 million by who? That's right, Pete Buttigieg. Joseph R. Biden Jr., 22%. Elizabeth Warren, 25.2%. Wow. Bernie Sanders, 36.2%. That's in the total cycle. Kamala Harris, 11.8% in the second quarter and 23.8% in the cycle total. Well, there you go. Who's got the most cash in the bank? Bernie Sanders, $27.3 million. Pete Buttigieg, $22.7 million. That's a surprise. Elizabeth Warren, $19.8. Kamala Harris, $13.3. Joseph R. Biden Jr., $10.9. Wow. So that's the fundraising picture in the Democrat Party. So what do you have to do to get David Ruiz, who, by the way, is a liberal reporter for Mother Jones, how do you get him to sound like a conservative? How do you get that done? I'm saying, gosh, I don't know. How do you get it done? Well, I'm going to tell you here in just a couple of minutes. You need to stay where you are. 844-RADIO-US. 844-723-4687. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Lots of very cool things happening. So, we've got somebody who was talking about, from Mother Jones, talking about Elizabeth Warren and saying some abject truth. I know that's kind of strange. Liberal, Mother Jones, Elizabeth Warren, and truth. It doesn't seem like it comes together like that. It doesn't seem like you could actually have truth under those circumstances. We'll talk more about it next. You're listening to the Wells Report.
It is a horrible scenario, but it happens. Dennis writes about his wife. She was diagnosed with leukemia. In fact, she's a 2-time survivor, and in the midst of all that, they ran up over $1 million in medical bills. Thankfully, they're Medi-Share members. And Dennis says they are so thankful for that, how others came together to meet their needs. And that's how so many Medi-Share members feel. This is not health insurance. It's different. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And like Dennis found out, it just works. So if you join Medi-Share, not only do you save a lot of money, the typical family saves about $500 a month, but you know where your money's going each month. You're helping people, and if the time should come, they'll be helping and even praying for you. So yes, it's different, and as more than 400,000 people now know when it comes to healthcare costs, different is beautiful. Find out more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-985-1813 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you a copy of The #1 Mistakes Retirees Are Making with Their Investments Today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-985-1813 now. Again, that's 800-985-1813. Employees of J.D. Melberg Financial have the appropriate licenses for the products they offer.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? Hi, I'm Joan London with The Place for Mom. Nobody knows your parent or loved one better than you, and nobody knows senior living better than the experts at A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their mom or dad.
I was so glad that I called A Place for Mom. My advisor really listened and was truly my partner in finding senior care for my dad. She went out of her way to get to know him as a person and was always there whenever I had a question.
The senior living advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. And it's a free service. Here's the number.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715.
There's a place for answers, a place for mom. Call today.
Call A Place for Mom at 1-800-370-2715. That's 1-800-370-2715.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Jeanette Stultz, who has just listened to what I was talking about, Joe Biden threatening to challenge President Trump to a push-up contest, a contest to see how many push-ups each can do. She says, you know what they really need to do is a foot race. I don't know that there's anything more disturbing than watching 70-year-olds in a foot race. I can't get that mental picture out of my mind. Let's see. Jim Lafferty is actually commenting today. He said, never seen so many Republicans with their head in the sand after Trump's latest display of his bigotry. Sad the Republican Party used to be so much more. I'm trying to remember the last nice thing you said about the Republican Party, James, but I'll keep looking. Let's see. Yeah. I was just playing down the line. I was playing some sound from Ilhan Omar, and I'm trying to find a very famous phrase that was bleeped out of the Wells Report yesterday. I never expected anybody to say it, least of which a Democrat woman. I never expected that she would ever refer to women's anatomy in that fashion, but by golly, she did it. Anyway, more about that coming up a little bit later on. I was playing that down the line, and Jamie has a point on that we'll share later. Let's see. Here we go. A blogger at Mother Jones, that's a liberal website, wrote that Senator Elizabeth Warren's immigration proposal is de facto open borders. In a piece headlined, "Are Democrats Now the Party of Open Borders?" Kevin Drum analyzed Warren's plan, which includes decriminalizing unauthorized border crossings, a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants, expanded legal immigration, and a restructuring of the roles for Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Protection. Comparing it to Julian Castro's plan, Drum noted it recommends no actions to improve border law enforcement in any way. There's nothing about either a wall or a virtual wall. There's nothing about E-Verify. There's nothing about smarter or more efficient enforcement. No one will ever be deported except presumably for serious felons, though Warren doesn't even say that explicitly. Drum has been critical of President Trump's immigration rhetoric and GOP accusations. The Democrats support open borders, but he admitted he didn't see much daylight between Warren's proposal and de facto open borders. Why is this news, you might ask? Well, it's because somebody on Mother Jones is actually putting out some clear-eyed, logical information about what would be a disastrous public policy. It's brilliant. Brilliant. Giving you more of Democrat political candidates in the news, tech investor and Trump supporter Peter Thiel thinks that Elizabeth Ann Warren is the most dangerous Democrat candidate. Why? Why does he believe that? Is it because she's the most socialist? No. Is it because she's the most totalitarian? No. Is she the most anti-American? No. No. He says she's the only one actually talking about the economy, which is the thing that matters to the most people for the most reasons. He said the others were equally unimpressive. All they were embracing is one form of identity politics or another. Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, not Mississippi, spoke to the media. Thiel also reiterated his call for the FBI and CIA to investigate Google, in case you don't know what's going on there. They're concerned that Google is somebody that actually had been infiltrated by Chinese espionage, and that's probably true. But is it Google's fault? Is it a criminal action? No, it's espionage by the Chinese, which you could stop, of course, anytime you wanted to. Oh, John David, you can't say that. How do you stop Chinese espionage? It's easy. It's easy. If the Chinese have penetrated Google and are using it as a disinformation ploy, very much like the Russian troll factory were operated in 2017. If that is indeed the case, if China has indeed penetrated Google, then what you've got there is you've got a situation where you just charged the Chinese government $500 billion. Yeah, and you go back in all of the Chinese espionage cases where they got all this information, you start charging them for it. Yeah, that'll cost you $1 billion. Yeah, and that'll cost you $2 billion, and you take it off the top of what they've invested in America. They'll stop spying on us. You watch. This is the Wells Report.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
When I wasn't taking it and I was waiting for my operation, I was feeling very tired. Now I'm driving like 11, 12 hours a day. I told you I manage 15 gas stations. And I have so much energy. I even gave some of my pills for my son, and he said, "Dad, this is good," so I like it. I'm healing so fast. It's like amazing. My family is so surprised because my wound like closing up and doing so good. So that is working now that I'm start taking my those fruits and vegetables.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.